Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Chrissy and I'm the founder of Jrevolution, and I'm really excited to introduce this new series that we're kicking off this week called Truth Be Told. And we are going to be diving into some really serious, difficult topics that we don't talk about very often. We're going to be talking about singleness and relationships, which includes healthy relationships, but it also includes toxic relationships, which many people find themselves trapped in and they don't know how to get out. We're going to talk about sexual brokenness. We're going to talk about sex outside of marriage. We're going to talk about pornography, masturbation. We're going to talk about homosexuality, and we're going to talk about all those LGBTQ issues that we see out there. We're going to talk about recovering from heartbreak. We're going to talk about recovering from abuse and trauma. We're going to talk about abortion. The next few weeks are going to be packed with some heavy, truthful teachings, because we want to talk about the truth and bring the truth and the light into these topics. The world tells us this. The world tells us that we should live however we want to live and do whatever we want to do and fulfill every gratification, every desire, every craving that we have. And the world calls that freedom. But as you do that, you will find yourself stuck in an invisible prison. You will find yourself stuck in toxic relationships. You will find that you are experiencing trauma and brokenness in your soul, because doing those things is not what is going to bring you freedom. The Word of God says that the truth will set you free, and that is the very reason why we call this Truth Be Told, because we believe people are suffering because they don't know the truth, and they are in situations like toxic relationships. They're experiencing sexual brokenness in their lives, and they are trying to fulfill needs and desires in the wrong way, and by doing that, they're causing themselves much harm. As human beings, we've been created in the image of God. You know, if you go back to the Bible, it tells us how we were made. It says that we were made in the image of God, and we were made as three-part beings. God is a three-part God, and we were created as three-part beings: body, soul, and spirit. And God created us as individuals who need intimacy. And intimacy is a big topic. But as I always say, as we teach in our Jrevolution series, we need to understand our makeup, the way we've been created, and we need to understand how we need to meet those needs of intimacy in the right way. Now, we are made up of body, soul, and spirit, and the very deepest part of us is our spirit man. And that is the very first intimacy, or that is the very first need of intimacy we need to address, is our spiritual intimacy. And guys, let me tell you what, you cannot meet spiritual intimacy through human relationships. And that is one of the core problems that we have in the world. Because we are spiritual beings and we require spiritual intimacy in our lives, which can only come from one place. I see many people trying to fulfill it in different ways, but can only come from one place. And that is out of a relationship with God. What a lot of people try and do is try and fill that void of spiritual intimacy through very often through sexual intimacy, because sex is actually something very intimate and very spiritual as well. It was created for a covenant. It was created to be only experienced in a certain environment, which is marriage, because it spiritually binds two people together. And that is how you get soul ties between one person and another person. But because we are spiritual beings, we often go to different sexual we go down different sexual routes to try and fill that need for spiritual intimacy. But when we do that, we bring great harm to ourselves, especially to our soul, which is our mind, our will, and our emotions. Your soul and your spirit are completely separate. You can only meet your spiritual need for intimacy through a relationship with God. And in order to have a relationship with God, we have to deal with the sin that separates us from God. I'm not going to talk about that, but if you want to know how to meet your spiritual needs for intimacy, I strongly encourage you to do our program, to do the Neo Genesis program, and especially session 1. We talk about how we can be connected to God in intimacy and in relationship. After our spiritual need for intimacy is met, we also have to meet the intimacy needs of our soul and our body. Okay, and again, God does that through different ways. It could be through community with other people. It could be through friendship. Okay, our body also has a need for affection. We have intimacy needs across all three parts of us: body, soul, and spirit. But the most important intimacy need that we need to fill is our spiritual need for intimacy, because when we do that, we won't go looking for intimacy in the wrong places. Many people are trying to meet their needs for intimacy through human relationships, and there is a place for human relationships, and we're gonna go into relationships in great detail over the next few weeks. But I want to just talk about the fact that we need to first meet our needs for spiritual intimacy before we look at meeting our needs in any other way. And before you can enter into something called marriage or into healthy relationships, you need to first meet your spiritual intimacy need first. I also want to talk about the fact that we live in a world of brokenness. People are coming from broken families and producing broken people, and more broken people are going into broken relationships, producing broken families and broken individuals. And what happens is that will ultimately produce a broken society, which we see all around us. And we need to become whole, healed, transformed people that are able to live healthy lives with healthy relationships before we can enter into a family unit like a marriage and children. And we're going to talk about how we can do that over the next few weeks. Because if you don't learn how to do this, if you don't apply the truth to your life, you will continue to have broken relationships throughout your life. Your children will have broken relationships throughout their lives, and it will continue down from generation to generation. Over the next few weeks and months, we want to tell you the truth. We want to tell you the truth about relationships. We want to tell you the truth about sexual brokenness. We want to tell you the truth about every difficult topic we're going to address. And we want to help you find freedom. The truth is not always easy to hear. The truth is not always easy to accept. But we are going to tell you the truth. And we hope that you will join us over the next few weeks and months. And if you are struggling in any of these areas, we want to invite you. We're going to have speakers from different places, people who've walked these roads, people that have faced issues with sexual brokenness, with homosexuality, with toxic relationships. And maybe you're somebody who's preparing to get married. We're also going to be covering, and we're going to be hearing from people who will help guide you in how to prepare for marriage if you are ready for marriage. So I hope you're as excited as I am for our series. I can't wait to kick it off. We kick it off next week, Wednesday, with our very first teaching. Today is just an introduction with our very first teaching. And we're going to be talking, our first topic, we're going to talk about singleness. It's not a popular topic, it's an important topic. And guess what? If you are experiencing any brokenness in your life, you may need to walk a road of singleness for a period of time before you can enter into a relationship, a healthy relationship. So God can take the time to heal you and transform you from any brokenness that you may be experiencing, so you can then walk into healthy relationships and create a healthy family unit and produce a healthy, safe place for your kids and for your future. And that is what we ultimately want for every single one of you. So I hope you will join us on this journey. I can't wait to introduce you to some of our speakers. I can't wait to share some of the interviews with you. It's going to be amazing. I look forward to seeing you guys over the next few weeks. God bless.